All right. Trump just made an announcement saying there will be no delay. He was, of course, there was an attempted assassination against President Trump yesterday, and he is still going to the RNC convention as scheduled. This is President Trump. They've tried to take away his money with bogus lawsuits. They've tried to take away his freedom by weaponizing the justice system. And now they tried to take away his life. But it didn't work. Just as Joseph told his brothers in the book of Genesis, you met evil against me, but God meant it for good. So, what really happened yesterday and what's to come? We're going to break it all down and more next. Enemy territory here. Hello, hello, hello. It is Sunday evening, guys. We're generally on here on Wednesdays, but we had to come back and report to you what we've found out and react to this new information. So again, it's Sunday and it's time for Poppin' Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ along with my amazing co-hosts. All right, we have Yana and Shelly E.
Hi.
All right, we are set to be joined by someone who has additional information, who was actually at the rally yesterday in Pennsylvania. He's coming on shortly. But as I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under Pop and Politics. We are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. Guys, this is not just a podcast, this is a movement needed now more than ever. It's a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we are living in urgent times. There's a target on our backs, all because we choose freedom. But we must continue to stand. Let's stand together. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. I have to do a temperature check after our emotional video from yesterday, after initially finding out what happened, an attempted assassination against President Trump. I want to start with you, Shelly. Did you wake up and feel any differently today after what happened yesterday?
I think kind of like the grief cycle, you go through shock and then, there's denial and anger. I think today I was angry. The shock and the grief or, the denial, they're kind of gone. Now I'm just angry.
All right. Yana, what are your thoughts here? How did you feel? Did you wake up today and feel any differently as to what happened?
Well, I feel energized today. Of course, it's a tragic event, and there was a person who died, and that's really sad. I've been feeling very sad about that. However, in terms of Trump and our movement, the America First movement, I feel energized. Everyone, the rest of the world is saying that this is it. Trump, this is his clear victory. I mean, regardless of what happens, Trump is on top at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to start off today by just talking about that brave, brave patriot who did die yesterday as a result of this evil man who tried to assassinate former President Trump. That was Fire Chief Corey Comparatori, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Yes, there he is, 50-year-old former fire chief from Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro announced it on Sunday. Two other Pennsylvania residents were also shot at the rally. They were identified by Pennsylvania State Police as David Dutch, he's 57, and James Koppenhaver, he's 74. They're both in stable condition for right now, but the Lost Patriot is comparatory. He was an avid supporter of Trump and excited to be at Trump's rally Saturday in Butler. He was there with his wife and two daughters and dove over them to protect them when gunshots were heard in the crowd. Shelley, what's your response to this?
Just say, God bless him, his family. I know they are hurting. I know they are, grieving. And there's all kinds of emotions. I would not expect less. So I do pray that he rests in peace. I thank him for protecting his family. And it just didn't have to come to this, but may he rest in peace.
Yeah. Jana, they described him, or the governor of Pennsylvania described him as a girl dad. He went to church every Sunday, loved his family and community. What are your thoughts here on this?
He's a real patriot. He's a hero. He's a martyr. And this is unfortunately it happened. But I think this is his glory.
Right. Yeah. And I want to talk about, and I want to ask the audience, how many of you guys have actually been to a Trump rally? I went to the last one in Pennsylvania. We was in Philadelphia, and actually all of us, we were thinking of going to this one, which was in Butler, but we just didn't make it. But I did go to the last one in Philadelphia, and not just the Trump rallies, but any type of event where patriots are there, it is the greatest experience. Everyone is excited. At the Philadelphia rally, of course, we stayed in the long line to enter. You meet new people. I met all new different people, had great conversations about our love for this country, faith-based people, and it was very diverse. But the biggest takeaway I get is it's just an energizing, feel-good event. Shelley, what are your and so with what happened yesterday and these people being hurt, it really strikes me to my core because these are good people.
Right.
Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
So, even today here locally, I went to it was a small come together, kind of a unification flag waving out on the road. And I just walked up, didn't know anybody there. Walked up and everybody, we're hugging each other, we're just, giving each other support and saying we understand. It was just a camaraderie there, a built-in camaraderie. It wasn't about skin color. It wasn't about Republican or Democrat. We were just all there. We were all Americans. And that's what it should be about.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jana. And I know you were big in Walkway, right?
Yes, I've been to the Walkway rallies. I've been to the rallies. Well, that was in 2021. The last one I went to was January 6th rally.
Right.
And it was, it's amazing. It's energizing. And people are there for an idea. And also, I can imagine that this rally is definitely not this. It's different from the one I went to because I went to the one where people were kind of upset. But this one, people went and they were positive. It was all about make America great and family values. Like you said, people brought their children. It's an amazing feeling. And then there's these nasty, disgusting people who want to destroy it. And the shooter is a representative of all of them, of all those haters of what America should be about. They want to destroy families. They want to destroy our freedom and our ability to gather peacefully. That is our right based on the Constitution. And that person and all of the people who said awful things about Trump and Trump supporters, they all the same. They're hiding right now what they're really feeling, but this person is who did this is a total representation of what the left is.
Absolutely. I want to acknowledge our super chatter on here. Guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Again, that is Gina. Gina, love your show, ladies. Keep giving us the real news. Shelly, thank you forever for your service.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Gina.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I want to talk about that. So this nut, this evil nut, the gunman who attempted to assassinate President Trump Saturday, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. He lived out there in Bethel Park, PA. Squeezed off at least 5 to 7 shots, one of which, of course, we know grazed Trump's ear. Sources say he crawled on the roof of a manufacturing plant more than 130 yards away from the stage at Butler Farm. So this is, what we have here. I mean, I want to show you guys. This is a map of exactly what they had to deal with yesterday, where this guy was. Take a look here. As you can see, this was from Amuse on X. So the sniper was apparently over this way. The rally was over here. You can see 130 yards away. It's just mind-boggling that the Secret Service did not see this guy. He's on this building over here. And of course, this was the crowd, that was wrapped out in this way, but you had snipers on the tops of these buildings over here, and nobody saw him.
They saw him.
Yeah, people saw him.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got? What do you ladies think?
Go ahead, Yana.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, but it's impossible that they didn't see him, because it seems like I saw there were these snipers, his Secret Service snipers. Well, they're not really, I mean, they're right on top of the roof there, and they're looking around. They would have to be looking at that building. That should be one of the things they should be looking at. I mean, ideally, there should be people, Secret Service, there should be people in protection who are on that building. So I don't understand why that building wasn't secure to begin with. So, and I'm pretty sure they saw him, and I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Secret Service have really gotten under fire for this. And what many in the news are calling a total failure during this rally night. A number of congressional investigations are underway, with hearings expected when Congress returns on July 22nd. Specifically, conservative pundit Dan Bonino tweeted, "Failed Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle must be asked in front of Congress and under oath, have you denied any security requests from supervisors on the Donald Trump protective detail?" He says if she answers no, she's absolutely not telling the truth. Resignation should start today over yesterday's atrocity of a security plan.
Yeah. Anytime the president or people in who have Secret Service protection, anytime they go out anywhere, particularly for large rallies, there are advanced teams that go out well before the event. They survey the area. They rope off. They talk to the people, businesses who may be even a mile or something away, just so that they can have that preliminary information of the logisticals and all the geographical layout. That's number one. Number two, the fact that people saw this man, and I'm going to call them what I typically call murderers and people who just, wantonly murder people, pieces of shit. This piece of shit was seen climbing up the wall, doing bear crawls with camo on, and there was at least one, maybe two witnesses that said they saw the rifle. It's no way in the world that the Secret Service did not see that. That building should have been, like Yana said, protected from the beginning. I don't understand why, particularly when you have a high building. It was not ground level, it was a height. And then you had the Secret Service people on other roofs. I had another question I asked. Where was the aerial surveillance? Where was that? Typically, they got drones for everything else. They got a drone, I bet, if we go outside of our houses, they can probably spot us real quick before we scratch our ass.
Right. Well, a lot of people are blaming the director of the Secret Service. Take a look here. It's Kimberly Cheadle. She is the 27th director of the Secret Service, sworn in to office September 17th, 2022. She, here in her bio, she says she is responsible for successfully executing the agency's integrated mission of protection and investigations by leading a diverse workforce composed of more than 7,800 special agents, uniform division officers, technical law enforcement officers, admin, professional, and technical personnel. So we know, when they start with this whole DEI kind of stuff, this is not generally the best way to put forward any type of agency, or you don't want to hire people just because of their sex organs, right, just because of their gender,
race, religion, right. It doesn't matter. And they're putting all of these things above quality, above professionalism.
Absolutely. And here I have a video of what occurred here yesterday. And when I saw it, I said, what in the DEI hell is going on here? Take a look here. Let me see here. I want to get this rewound. One moment. All right. Can you guys hear that? Yeah. So this is the melee that occurred. Look, these women hustling. They seem frantic. They seem just out of sorts. So again, they've come under a lot of fire. People are saying that, it seemed very disorganized. It just seemed all over the place. In the beginning part where they were supposed to cover President Trump initially when the shots were fired, the women were too small to actually cover him. So you had women there, because they're women, they were smaller in stature. And so when the Secret Service were trying to build the wall around him, there was this one woman that just couldn't fill the gap.
And Trump is tall.
Yeah.
So tall. What are they thinking?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I may upset some people. I really don't care. First of all, in any, I'm going to say, situation of chaos, one of the most important tools is the communication. So if the communication is off from the leadership or the command on down, then things are going to go haywire. That's number one. Number two, not simply because they were women. They did look disorganized, or they didn't know what happened. Maybe this was their first time. I don't know. But not simply because they were women. I'm not going there with this one. That's number one. Number two, when that woman was taking him down the stairs, I looked at different angles. Again, not simply because she was a woman. Maybe she was incompetent. Maybe. I'm not saying that she wasn't. Maybe there were some men there who were equally incompetent. But to her benefit, I guess, when she was going down the stairs, it looked like she was trying to get him to make sure the step was so that they would not fall the way they were guiding him. I'm not saying that other parts didn't matter, but when if the communication is not intact, if people have not rehearsed the drills, and again, you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. That's good to do that. But real life from simulation is always going to have some unaccounted for factors that are at play. I'm not going there, at least not right now. Now, as for the director, with her being her whether she's a woman or not, it's her policies. To me, it seems that are the problem.
But okay, so even if we don't go to that, these women looked a mess. They looked out of sorts. You can see one, she couldn't holster her weapon. They were erratic. They were moving over like nothing was, they didn't move with purpose. As I mentioned, when they were trying to put the wall together, one was too small. I mean,
I would say,
couple that with the fact that they continue to lead with this DEI hiring strategy.
I get that.
Not a good mix.
I said that the policies are not good, but not simply because that they are women. These particular women, they did look out of sorts. I agree with you there, but not simply because they were women, because guess what? There were also men there in that Secret Service, details, snipers, whatever, who may not have performed well either.
I don't know. I disagree. I think
they're the ones who saw him go up the building. They're the sniper on the other building who may have waited until the shot was fired before So there were other men. There were men and women in the Secret Service. That's why I say I'm not just solely going there simply because they were women. Was some of the policies? Absolutely. Maybe a lot of times 90% of any what do you want to call this? Any mechanism or situation is going to be the communication. Ask anyone in crisis. The communication can make or break it.
I think women are not built for certain jobs. And
maybe they're not.
Women are good as snipers, actually. So if they were, surveying and actually women, according to historical facts, they're actually better snipers than men. But when you need to create a wall of human shield, women are not good for that. They're just physically not built. Of course, there's some women that could be, but these particular women definitely weren't. Mm-hmm. So in general, for Secret Service, for protection of the most important people in the country, they should be picking the best people for the job. Not because they're women, and not because, I don't know, for any sort of other reasons. They should be the best people for the job. If they're physically not fit, if they are short, if they're small, and I mean, I don't know about the emotional state. I mean, some women can be really good with the emotions, but these ones did not. They looked like they were in panic.
And let me say this, and where the reason why I am saying what I'm saying about them, specifically the gender and things like that, is because the left continues to lead with this. They continue to push the narrative of this whole DEI. They keep us focused on this. So when something goes wrong, if you use this to hire them, and then something goes wrong, and I'm left with a video of a bunch of flustered women, with ponytails, then I'm gonna go there.
Because I didn't say you shouldn't go there. I didn't say you couldn't go there. I said I wasn't.
And you to push it.
I said I wasn't going there.
I mean, if I wasn't going there,
I wasn't making that the only issue or that the primary issue. It's simply because they were women. And let's get another thing. Just because the left leads with stuff, well, we know where they go. We know where much of what they lead with, where it winds up. So I don't have to go there. I'm not saying that those women were not. Maybe they were incompetent, but there were some men there were incompetent as well. I'm not basing solely on their sex. I'm talking about the policies and the communication. So if that is the leading thing, then yes, if they're incompetent, they're incompetent, but not simply because they were women. In that particular scene, yes, it looked chaotic.
If I'm being attacked at night on the street by some guy with a gun or with a knife, I do not want to see a female police officer rushing to me. If I had a choice between a male and a female, I would prefer a male police officer rushing to my help, not a female.
I would too. But if a female comes and I'm in need of help, then damn it, I'm going to ask her to help me or hope that she
sure,
does.
but for if you had a choice, so like these people, if they have a choice of who to hire.
Right. Yeah. And they choose based off of gender.
That's what I said. The policy is wrong.
Yeah. If the policy is wrong, then the outcome is going to be wrong.
That doesn't mean that these women are necessarily incompetent because of that. I'm not saying that.
They're not built for it.
That's always the case just because they're women. Just because they're women. That's
they're
like
women.
saying that there are no women incompetent for anything because they were hired. Maybe they are. I'm not saying they were or were not. I'm saying that I'm not just starting with that is the only thing that's going to account for a woman being incompetent is because she was only hired because she was a woman.
I'm not saying they're incompetent. They might know exactly what to do. They might have had a good, these particular ones didn't. But even the ones that do know what to do, they're just physically not built for the job.
If that's the only policy, or that is a lot of time the leading policy, then the policy is wrong. That doesn't automatically make every woman incompetent.
Like that's why in a nightclub, you have bouncers who are big guys, not short women. And when something goes wrong, when let's say you're in a person being protected and something is happening, they're shooting, the person who's protecting you is supposed to jump on top of you, literally, and knock you down. Can you imagine the little woman jumping on top? And she wouldn't be able to knock him down even.
No. We do have to move on. Before I do that, I want to talk about what Joe Biden said just 2 weeks ago. And it's so weird that this has happened. Take a look here. He tweeted out 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for. So, and this isn't the first time we've seen this. The left, from all the way up, from President Biden on down, they continue to paint this narrative that Donald Trump is Hitler. He's a threat. So I want to ask you, Shelley, I'll start with you. Do you believe that they've created an environment where people like this, and I'm not saying that this guy was, I don't know, but an environment where this can happen? An assassination?
Yeah, I think the left accuses its opposition of exactly what they do or have done. That's what they excel in doing. They have as if they want to say that Republicans or the right are guilty of this rhetoric, then they are equally, if not more, guilty of doing the same thing that they are accusing us of doing. Their rhetoric, if we want to use this, let me add to this. I'm free speech. I'm for people saying whatever the hell they want, because even on the right, if we say that there's a difference between speech and actions, then we have to hold people accountable for their actions, not what they say necessarily. So unless they're defaming someone with a line, that's something different. But if the left says that rhetoric causes or contributes to violence, then they are guilty. No holds barred. They are the number one bearers of that guilt. That's what I say.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Jana. You saw what President Biden put up there, and they've said worse. He said worse, about Trump. Mm-hmm. Painting him as Hitler, painting him as a threat to democracy. Do you think this narrative added to this environment that we're in today with this attempted assassination?
I think so. Yeah. And the thing is that the left has been trying to paint Trump as this inciter of violence. You know how they would talk that Trump's speeches incite violent behavior. They were trying, they've been saying that Trump is the one who called people for insurrection, which when he actually didn't. So we can technically say the same thing about Biden and a lot of people in the government and in the media. Right. Saying the same. They've been calling for violence, like for real. They were saying, if you were saying someone is Hitler, someone is a fascist, what did we do with fascists? I mean, I grew up on the history of World War II. You go and you kill the fascists, right? You go and you fight the fascists. You go to war. So this is how they painted Trump supporters. So it's not surprising that this is the reaction that we're getting, and that this insane, deranged person, I do not know who else talked to him. I do not know what else been going on in that person's life. But I think this rhetoric definitely brought on this type of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as Trump supporters, we get so much crap for even saying we support our president. You have a situation in some public schools or schools around the country where kids have gone to school in support or talking about President Trump, and they've been told they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
The former president of the United States, some children cannot do projects on him in their school because these activist teachers have told them they cannot, because he's a threat to democracy or what have you.
Right.
We can't even walk around here in Maryland. I mean, we do, but I mean, we have to really think about it, to wear MAGA hats.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
people, will hurl such vicious things, they may resort to violence. Absolutely right. But why do we even have to think about that? The leftists don't do that. They go out here and all their Biden, stuff, and there's people driving around here with cars with nothing but bumper stickers,
Right.
leftist, things.
Right.
It is dangerous to have a Trump sticker, bumper sticker. It is dangerous where your car will be vandalized. If you live in DC, for sure your car will be vandalized. Here in Maryland, I mean, depending on which area, but if you travel anywhere, it will be vandalized. It's very dangerous, and people on the left, I think, some people on the left who maybe are not bad people, but they don't realize what they've created, what
Right.
kind of environment they created for other half of Americans, that we can't speak up, we can't talk about certain things around our coworkers, for example, or children have to be careful. Children of parents who support Trump, they are told not to talk about it in school.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I think why they don't cower, or why they don't have to think about it when they drive through or whatever they do with their gear on, is because I think they instinctively and subconsciously know that the right is more moral, and we have more convictions that you don't just go and vandalize people's property. You certainly don't go and try to harm them or murder them just because of some a difference in party or affiliation. So I think they instinctively know that we are generally guided by those particular moral principles, and just the Constitution, that you have a right to support, agree with, don't agree with, whatever group that you want, as long as you don't infringe on another person's right. So they're not dumb. They know that about us. They just want to make us out to be the bad guys or the boogeymen in their own mind, so that allows them to do what they do, and then they can blame us.
Yes, they know because we haven't done those things to them. Like
Right.
we had a show about this. Wasn't there a man in Florida who keyed someone's car
Right. We
because
did.
they had a Trump sticker on it? And it was like a middle-aged white man
Mhm.
who
An
is
adult.
an adult, yes, who you would not even think that, if you look at him, you wouldn't expect him to behave this way. But this is the kind of people they are. These are just this weaselly, nasty. They believe in their ideology, and they think, and he was trying to justify himself.
Yeah, he was. And he and his wife. But I mean, this stuff runs deep. It runs very deep on the left, not just within their constituents, but these institutions, these deep state companies, and one of them is BlackRock. Investigative reporter Laura Loomer has uncovered a BlackRock ad from 2023 that appears to feature this assassinator,
Assassin.
assassin, Matthew Crooks. And in this ad, it shows him in Pennsylvania, and within the ad, I believe I have a copy of it. Here it is. Take a look at this.
I teach AP and Honors Economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I want to make sure you
AP and Honors Economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do.
BlackRock.
I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school and gave as much as he could to help the community.
So there you have it. This the alleged assassin was in this BlackRock ad, and we all know BlackRock is a huge Democrat leaning company and supporter, and so it's just really weird to see him the connection there. You guys, what do you guys think of that?
I think there's much more going to coming out over. Well, it might take 20 to 40 years now, because it seems that the truth comes out like almost 50 years later, right? When many of us have been saying and asking some very important questions, even as yesterday's events. But it's kind of weird. It just tells me that, again, that there's more to this than we know.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here? I mean, we know BlackRock, the longtime advisor, Michael C. Donelon, is the brother of Thomas E. Donelon, chairman of BlackRock, and is a big longtime advisor to Trump. I'm sorry, to Biden.
Well, like, I agree with Shelley that we need to find out more. These person's connection, I mean, this shooter's connections, his family. So I wonder, because in order to appear in a video as a minor, you have to have a permission by parents, I assume. So the parents maybe are connected to BlackRock, and they wanted their son to appear in this video. And so I wonder what this guy's parents are like, and what their connections are, and what their ideology is like.
Yeah, good point. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the reaction from the left. Now, and maybe I'm one of few, but from what I saw, most of the reaction was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I saw a video of Bill Maher condemning this assassination attempt. He's saying this is totally wrong. Why would something like this happen? And he was pushing back against it. Have you guys seen anyone that did the opposite on the left?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Have you seen anyone come out against, talk about this as they were happy about this attempt, or?
No, I didn't see happy or like a kind of elation. What I did, and I cannot remember her name, but she was on a CNN news clip, and she was talking about. I was like, this is so twisted. She was talking about she didn't think Trump, the way he came up and raised his fist, fight, and she kind of alluded to this being a part of the rhetoric. So in some twisted way, and we'll probably hear more and more as the days go, in some twisted way, they're going to try to blame Trump for his own assassination.
Yeah, it'll be interesting on Monday because that's when all of the shows and the media really run their shows. It'll be interesting to see how they cover this. I did find one actress, Amanda Seales. She is an actress in Hollywood, and she had some really nasty comments to make. She called it a fake. She said the whole thing was fake. She didn't believe what occurred. And I want you guys to take a look at this. This is her talking about the attempt.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove. Where'd the blood come from? So in theater, in movies, they have what's called blood pellets. They even, people use them in Halloween. It's basically a pellet of fake blood that's in your mouth. And when you crush it, the blood comes out. To be frank, Small Hands Trump would not respond by raising his fist in the air triumphantly were an actual attempt made on his life.
Now this is a DEI. Now this is a DEI.
To try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility. What? Oh my God. Molly, you in danger, girl.
So here we have it. That whole explanation was just idiotic.
Exactly.
It was stupid. And now, so she grew up in Harlem and she's a theater nerd. Whatever. Shirley, what are your thoughts to her?
That was a DEI hire because she was hired simply because she was a woman. She can't act. She doesn't even make sense. That's what DEI. Now, again, what it wasn't even. I don't even know if it required a response in the sense that I know she got comments, things like that. But I first heard some. I hate to say it. Mostly Black people, or if not all Black people, those were the ones who I heard saying it's fake, it's fake. Now all of a sudden they know what fake news is, right? They didn't know what fake news was. All of a sudden now they're experts in fake news. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, y'all know. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't even know who she is.
Exactly.
Like, really. Because I'm not big in pop culture, and if I don't know who that person is, they didn't make it yet.
Yeah. She's a comedian. She calls herself a comedian. But she's an actress. She was in Insecure, which is a show on HBO. It's now no longer on. She's definitely C-level at best. A C-level actress.
She just wants attention with that video. She wants to appear edgy and smart and how she picked it up or something. And she just wants attention. And she doesn't know what the heck she's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I want to acknowledge our super chatters on here. Guys, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you all. We have here Eddie B says it's not weird and the kid was groomed and this was no accident. A 20-year-old did this on his own? Yeah, right. ABC Stephanopoulos indicates Trump was inciting. People, you must speak up and out. Bring out people to vote. Absolutely.
Amen. Thank you, Eddie.
Yes, thank you. Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much. Says Amanda is also the same person who said after it was revealed that Juicy Smollet's hate crime was a hoax, that what he did was low-key noble. Oh, wow. Yeah. See, so that tells you right there she's a nut, babe. Yeah, it really does. So we wanted to come on here. We did have someone lined up to come on that was at the rally, but it looks like they are unable to join us. So I want to get final thoughts from you ladies. This is, we woke up this morning in a new world. We start tomorrow with the RNC convention. President Trump will be there, and he will be taking the Mount, I believe on Wednesday.
I think so.
His speech. Do you think this will play in? We'll find out who the VP pick is. Any final thoughts on that? Shelley, I'll start with you.
I don't know about the VP. I don't know if we're going to know early, but absolutely this will play on it. I think he's going to walk in there like the strong, upright man that he is, and he should. I believe with all of my heart and soul that the RNC convention is going to be hot this week. I think this unfortunately it came to this, but I think if anything, Republicans are going to leave there more united than ever. We still don't have to agree on everything, but we're going to be united in making sure this man is elected.
All right. From your mouth to God's ears. Jana, what are your thoughts? And I want to get this super chatter here, but what are your thoughts on what we saw transpire over the last 24 hours?
Oh, I think that Trump really showed his leadership with the situation, and he really showed that he's a warrior, that he is going to fight for America, and that we should also all be warriors for America, that we should be fighting, and that this event really makes him stronger, it makes us stronger, and really there's no stopping us at this point.
Yeah. And I want to acknowledge the super chat area. They had a question for us. Let's see here. Eddie B, gang, thank you again, Eddie. Says, before you go, ladies, do me a solid. Please tell me why it's mostly Black women who won't leave the demo rat party. Obviously not you all, but I mean in general. Good question.
Eddie, you have to go back a couple of our clips. We talked about that a couple shows ago. Maybe sometime this week we talked about that. So I would encourage you, Eddie, to go back there and watch those shows and tell us what you think.
Yeah. I'll give a quick answer, but yes, we have talked about it a couple times on the show. But honestly, to me, it's a lack of they don't have how we all change generally, because I was a Democrat for many years. I was seeking truth. It's a situation where you have to find out something that what you believed is actually not true. And then that makes you curious to see, well, if this isn't true, what else isn't? And then you go and you do the research yourself.
Right.
And so I think a lot of Black women are in this victim mentality. They're leading it. Thank God more Black men, I should say, are waking up. But women, which they shouldn't be leading anything, are leading this victim mentality, and they're leading our communities to their demise.
Right. Well, somebody told me to answer the question.
Oh, okay.
Somebody said, answer the question, Shelly. So I think while I was a Democrat, I would say for I don't know, my first year when I first started voting, so maybe about 2-3 years, I guess. But when I came back from the military, I credited with really shaping and helping to shape my thinking. So being outside of the environment in which I was raised, it gave me a whole different perspective. Like, oh my gosh, there are people out here who don't look like me, but we have some similar thoughts and similar goals, values, things like that. So it was more important when I came back from the military. I literally started reading more, picking up books, and started basing what I was seeing in the community, what I was being told by politicians, saying, wait a minute, this is just not adding up. All this money, all these services and how come we still have more people in the Black community on drugs? We're still murdering and killing each other. Things just were not adding up. And so that was a big impetus for me to continue on learning, reading, and really, I would call it renewing my mind.
Yeah.
If I can just comment on women in general.
Yes.
I think women in general are more prone to support socialism.
Mm-hmm.
Because women are always looking for protection, always looking for someone to take care of them. So they are more prone to vote for someone or for a party that's going to promise this type of some kind of protection, some kind of monetary contributions, like welfare, like child support, free child care, things like that. So, and that comes with socialism. So, the Democrat Party is associated with socialism. They promise socialism. So that's why women in general vote for a socialist type of party more so than not.
That's a good point there, Yana. And I'll even add on to that, just specifically to Black women. I mean, we have, the Black community is populated with, or has the largest population of single mothers. And a lot of times, sort of along the lines what you were mentioning, Yana, these single mothers, many are bitter. And I may catch some flack on this, but many are bitter. And as you mentioned, they believe they need help. They need assistance. And they don't, and now you put, and on top of that, you put in this idea that the left has put in, they don't need a man. So the collapse of the family has then gone on. And so in the place of these father figures, in the place of these strong husbands, in the place of these uncles and things like that, the left wants to place the government.
Right.
And so this is why and then they have taken this narrative hook, line, and sinker. They have, and so that's why we see right now that the majority of people, the base of the Democrat Party right now, are single women.
Mm-hmm. And women as a whole, unfortunately, do not like to look at their own mistakes, do not like to address what they've done wrong. So yes, there might be men who got with them and then left them. But then a lot of these women, they knew what type of men they were getting with. They knew they were in a relationship with someone without getting married to that person, without securing their future. And then they're in a predicament. So
Right.
instead of looking onto themselves and saying, what can I do differently with my life? They're looking for external validation, like, oh, I don't need no man. And they're looking for support from outside.
Yeah. Look, I know I've gotten in trouble before on along those lines. I've gotten in trouble before, even from people on my own side, right? But I don't care, which is why for a long time, I would say, I'll give a woman one, everybody gets a mistake, even a big mistake in their life, right? I can give them that. But particularly when it comes to children, when you have 2 and 3 and 4 more children, particularly by different men, but even when you have maybe by 1 or 2 dads, and you are not able to rely on that dad, or that dad is not in their life for whatever reason, you get no more benefit of the doubt from me. You don't, because I stopped the buck at innocent children and murdering people. Those are 2 things in my life, or whatever, my value system, that you really can't move me on too much, if at all. So I mean, women are, same thing again, co-signing everything you guys just said.
Yeah,
but
and
I do
another thing I want to say just quickly, we have to call it out. And this is the issue here within our community. Not because we're women, we're a panel of women. We're not getting any joy out of saying these things. But guess what? It's the truth.
Right.
And it needs to be called out.
Right.
And people no longer will accept or want to hear correction with love. It is out of love that we are saying these things, because these are our communities that are failing, and that we can see happening over and over again and again. So we get these comments from people who are like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that about women, you don't like Black women, you always say something about them. No, we're calling it out of love. And so we want to see our communities where we live right now. We currently live and work and everything else in these communities. We want them to be better.
And frankly, I'm tired of paying for everybody else's stuff. I said that before. I'm tired of paying for everybody else's chick and child. I'm just tired of it. I call me whatever you want, but I am. If I work in the money that I make, I'm tired of it going to every Tom, Dick, and Harry's child. You need to get Tom, Dick, and Harry down there to pay for their children.
And I'm tired of seeing children who do not have a full family. They're suffering. My heart hurts for these children that comes from these broken homes.
Yeah. And Yana, I know you wanted to address some comments from our last, not yesterday's live, but Wednesday's live. You still want to do that?
I guess I could. I got some well, there was a positive comment too. There was some negative or comments of people that were upset of when I guess I was responding to Mr. Umar's comments about immigrants. And my issue with his comments were because it was so race charged.
Did we have a clip?
Let me see. Go ahead, Yana. I can look for it.
Not because I mean, I agree with everyone on this panel, and I've always said we should not be supporting illegal immigrants, and Americans deserve, the benefits that they've been paying into, and illegal immigrants do not deserve any of the welfare or food stamps or housing that are given to them right now. Absolutely not. I just have an issue when people are talking in such a
So go ahead.
racist language that it has to do with black people versus someone else, black people versus white, black people versus Hispanic, and black people against immigrants. I mean, I'm an immigrant, and I know how difficult it is to be an immigrant in this country, and the immigrants of all colors that come here, and they have added struggles. If there is such thing as racism, on top of that they have other struggles. They barely speak English when they come here. And so my whole point was that I want the black community to be above racism at this point. I do not like to see this kind of rhetoric where, well, it's the other communities are taking away from us. You know, when immigrants come to this country, we're envious of all Americans because Americans of all races have privilege. You guys speak English. You guys, I mean, have all sorts of, well, let's say I came here with a visa, and let's say imagine it's an illegal alien and they want to work, but they can't. An American can. They can go anywhere and apply for a job, and they don't have legal restrictions against it.
Mhm.
So my point is, and the reason I read Booker T. Washington's quote is because even black leaders have talked about this. Rise, people need
That's
to
what it
rise
was.
above.
The Booker T. Washington quote.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I think that's what set it off. The Booker T. Washington quote you said.
I mean, I didn't. That's not my words. That's Booker T. Washington's words. And
Right.
so, and that's the whole point. I've read, and believe me, I know the history, and I think people have accused me of being racist. I know the difficult history. I've read the Frederick Douglass accounts of his life. I've read what Uncle Tom's Cabin, which a lot of people haven't read. They don't know what they're talking about when they call somebody Uncle Tom. I've read Booker T. Washington's autobiography, obviously.
Right.
And so Harriet Tubman's story. I mean, my heart hurts, for what was happening in America back then. But you know what? When I read those things, I thought, first of all, why was this not required reading when I was in high school? Second, I thought, as immigrants, we come here and we struggle. For us, this was inspiring to learn what those people in the past have come through and become successful. Their struggles were so much greater than anything that we're dealing with today. So
Right.
that should be inspiring rather than always. There was one commenter who said, the idea of slavery cancels out any argument. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You mentioned, Jan. I mean, we know you are not racist. It's a situation where, again, we had a clip. We were talking about a segment of Dr. Umar on the Breakfast Club. And many times Black people don't like to hear correction from a white person. And that's what it is. That's what it is in the nutshell. We got to get out of that. We got to get out of this whole black, white, this whole race thing. It is a tool of division and used and to cause destruction within the country.
And let me tell you something. I come from Russia, and one of the things that the way that our culture is, we say exactly what we feel, what we think, and how you, KJ, said that when we call somebody out, it's out of love. It's not to bring somebody down. It's the opposite. In fact, we believe that the person who doesn't care, the person who is being too nice, they do not care. They do not want to see you succeed. When they see a problem, even if, let's say, you disagree with that person, but the intention is out of concern.
Right. I agree there. So, we will continue to call, to point out these things, to push truth to power. We will continue to do it because honestly, and I know you ladies, it's in us. We cannot do it. We cannot do it. So we do it because we love our community, we love our country, and we want to see it thrive. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Mind Tab says, for all our heart, we stay with truth and love. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Eddie B says again, I hate that we keep yelling racism while millions of immigrants come and succeed where we fail. We must stop making excuses for negative behaviors. Black people must step up now. Yes.
Get to
totally
step
there.
Get to step
Abraham, thank you, Abraham, says your post was how I found out about the Trump tragedy.
Wow,
I even double-checked other channels to make sure I was reading correctly. Thank you, ladies. Oh,
wow, thank you, Abraham.
Yes. Fran, Reed Love, thank you. She says, I want to know where you got my black earrings. I love them.
I got to think about it. I'll let you know next time. Remind me, Fran, on the next show. Okay. But KJ, don't forget, we had 2 super chatters yesterday that came in at the end as we were going off. So I think it was Krista and Yana. Who was the other one? Was it Doug?
I can't say right now.
I think it was Doug, but Krista and Doug, someone with a D. So thank you for those as well.
All right. Well, ladies, this does it. I do want to say before we go, I saw a really cool video of talking about what happened to the assassination attempt on President Trump yesterday. And they were talking about how, they were breaking it down to the point where he had moved his head like a second before the shot fired, and you could see it whiz through the air. And it was like he had an angel behind him, actually just guiding him, stopping that bullet from piercing his head. Yep. And I do want to, my heart goes out to the victims, to the ones that were killed. But I want to show you guys this video very quickly of this prophet. This prophet who actually saw this occurring, I believe it was several months ago.
I think it was in April.
Okay. And posted it on YouTube. And he saw it not only about the assassination tip, but it was down to he saw President Trump's ear getting pierced. Let me see here. One moment. Take a look.
I want to say something. Natasha said, I think he had a bulletproof vest. Well, he probably was wearing a bulletproof vest, Natasha, but the bulletproof vest, he wasn't wearing it in his head. It doesn't matter. He was shot in the head.
True. All right. So here we are. Take a look at this.
Rising up. And then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame.
Oh, the Lord had me last night interceding for President Trump. And he said, Brandon, they will do it today. You must intercede. And I was up all night praying for him, and I was interceding. I mean, it was heavy intercession. And he told me, the prophecy that you gave about the ear will come to pass. And the bullet grazed his ear. It busted his ear, just like I told everybody. I saw blood flowing down his face, and the Lord said he would be spared. And when this happens, he would become radically born again, because the Lord spared his life today. And he would become baptized in the Holy Ghost, radically saved by the power of God. And I'm telling you, great revivals coming to America. This is another example of God's hand on 45. We've seen it. It just happened. It just happened. This is exactly what I prophesied. And it manifested even to the earlobe, that they missed him, and it grazed his ear and busted his eardrum. And I'm telling you all, God's hand in mercy is on this nation. There's going to be some hard days ahead, y'all, but I'm telling you, a massive revival is
Wow. I mean, that brought tears to my eyes. All I want to say is, trust in God. Trust in God, please. I am a living testimony that when you think it is done, it is not. We don't know what God can see. He sees our beginning and end. Trust in him. And that's it. I mean, that was phenomenal. There it is. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back tomorrow night. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.